Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we are playing another Total War Warhammer 2 battle replay. So this one is a community cast sent in by Sarmation, and last one we saw of his, he was against double Shaggers. This time he's actually against double Carnosaurs, which is kind of cool. So he's playing Chaos this time, against the Lizardman, and you see he's got two Chaos Warriors here, escorted by Aspiring Champions, and he's got the same thing over here. So the Marauders, I think, are really good against Lizardman. They're just cheap crap that you can throw at skinks, skink skirmishers or whatever. It doesn't matter if they're getting shot at. It saves the rest of the army some hassle. But backed up by the Aspiring Champions, they will be able to deal with skink cohorts as well, fairly consistently, and they'll be able to hold out longer against Saurus warriors, which is nice. I do like this mixture of stuff here. That encouragement really helps, so that's nice. And here, 3 chosen with halberds. That is a crazy amount of anti-large, and a lot of armor, and a lot of melee defense, and just a lot of pain. Very cool to see 3 of them. And what's really interesting here is you'll notice there's, apart from these Marauder Horsemen, there's no large units here. So that's pretty cool. So you expect to see a load of monsters as Chaos, because, you know, Shaggoths and Dragon Ogres are just so good at dealing with dinosaurs. But he's decided to completely ignore that. Yeah, he's just going to bring things that can outrun Carnosaurs and, you know, similar anti-large units. And that's it. That's all he's got that's large, which is really cool, including Archaon. Look, Archaon here, he's on foot. So that is really interesting. So a lot of the things that the Lizardman players tend to bring to deal with lords and heroes and monsters, they're just not going to do as well against Archaon. They're not going to get their anti-large bonus. So I think that is really interesting to see. So also, he's the spellcaster, so we're not going to see the spellcaster get picked off by skink chiefs. And frankly, there's enough missile cav to scare away skink chiefs pretty well. I mean, there's 4 units, so that's really interesting. And the Chaos Warhounds are poison. They're great for rear charging stuff. Just to put poison on anything is great. And they're also really nice and affordable units that can just chase away any fleeing units. You know, anything expensive that might come back with full health thanks to all the charges of Cold-Blooded and, you know, the rest of it. Apotheosis. Yeah, they're just going to chase them off. Not let them rally, which is really cool. So, really interesting build. I really like this. Very, very cool. And his opponent, like I said, double Carnosaurs. He's got 2 Saurus Scar veterans. So bringing these guys on Carnosaurs, they're not going to rampage like you know, like Carnosaurs normally do. They've each got a charge of Cold-Blooded. They have really good combat stats, really good armor piercing, really good anti-large. But that anti-large is just not going to help them in this matchup, which is really interesting because normally it's a huge boon to have that. So really cool. Also Mazdamundi. So interestingly, he doesn't have Shield of the Old Ones or Ruination of Cities, which are 2 things that you usually see. So I think that's pretty cool. He does have Banishment though, which is good for crowd control, especially if you've got such a small army. But I think Shield of the Old Ones is kind of important, because if Banishment runs the wrong way, it's going to kill, you know, most of your force, because let's be honest, this is not a lot of soldiers here. This is not a lot of troops. So I think Shield of the Old Ones is pretty vital, just to add that magic resistance, just in case your spells backfire. I think that's pretty damn useful. So pretty cool. But yeah, Mazdamundi, you know, just a great lord, really useful. Obviously he's got the little poison missiles that are going to be shot, you know, from the sides. And yeah, really good anti-infantry and armor piercing, which is great on Slag. So pretty handy, and a ton of health as well. You can't forget that. But he's also got 2 units of Temple Guard, so really reliable anti-large again. So just so much anti-large in this army. And he's got 3 Saurus warriors. His last unit over here, Cold One Riders. These guys aren't going to be able to catch anything that's large, so they're going to be stuck having to fight, you know, they're not going to be used on cavalry, they're just going to have to fight armoured infantry, and the only armoured infantry here, well actually, I guess the Aspiring Champions, but generally, it's just going to be chosen with halberds, and they don't want to be fighting them. That's a terrible idea. So, pretty damn cool. So, let's speed things up. Straight away, you can see the Marauder Horsemen are running in to get some early damage. These guys, I mean, they don't have the armor piercing, the Marauder Horsemen. They're just the standard Horsemen. But it'll stack. That damage will stack. And frankly, against things like Saurus that only have 60 armor, you can see it does a fair bit of damage. So whittling down the numbers a lot, it just basically stops the Chosen from being bogged down on things they're not going to get value from. So it's nice to be able to hit these guys early. So here, Aspiring Champions are charging in, the Marauders are charging, everything's charging in. See the Saurus Scar veterans are running in, nice fireball flying in to try and hit Mazdamundi early, get some early damage on him. It does a little bit, you know, it helps whittle him down, so that's good. And, yeah, everything's getting engaged now. This is very dangerous. Obviously, the Marauders aren't going to hold up particularly well against all the Saurus warriors, but there is a lot of backup here. There is a lot of backup in the form of all the Horsemen and the Hounds. So that's pretty cool. And over here, Look at this, Cold One Riders, they're trying to chase down the cavalry, they just can't catch up. Look how much damage they've taken. I mean, that's with 90 armor and bronze shields. They're still taking a ton of damage from the javelins. So that's really brutal. And here, these marauders did get caught. Another Fievel. These marauders did get caught, but I think they're being used as bait. The Sora Skull veteran was fighting them for a little while and actually let the halberds get in there. So I think Sarmation was just letting them get caught out for a while, just to make the Sora Skull veteran feel wanted, you know, and valuable. So over on this side, you can see, yeah, Curse the Midnight Wind has gone down, lowers the armor, so the Saurus Warriors are going to be able to get more value against this stuff. But even then, it's not a huge amount. Here, Archaon is basically just fighting on his own against all this nonsense. Stand or Die has been procced, which puts the Chosen with Halberds up to 81 melee defense, which is ludicrous. Here, we're going to see a really tasty banishment. See, it does about, wow, about a third, almost half a unit of Chosen with Halberds. I mean, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. The fact that he's going to get a couple of them, you know, that's essentially an entire unit of Chosen with Halberds he could potentially kill. And look, he took out all the Marauders too. That is brutal. That is incredibly good. So, yeah, really injured. And now he's charging in with his anti-infantry. The Sora Skull veteran charging in with their anti-armor. And, yeah, those Chosen have been wrapped up. This flank has collapsed for Chaos. But Archaon is still in great shape, and Mazdamundi is still just taking so much damage. And I'm pretty sure he's used a couple of apotheosi on himself? I don't know what to say. He's used some healing on himself already. So here you can see Temple Guard, they're fighting, but they're going to be fairly evenly matched against the Chosen with Halberds. They're both anti-large, armor-piercing. None of them really have an advantage over the other, but Archaon's in here, hitting like a truck, and it's going to do a ton of damage. There's javelins being thrown into this mix, and yeah, they're getting flanked. So again, though, another Curse the Midnight Wind's going to lower melee attack, and that is going to give them an edge. So that's scary. But look at this. It's, this Lord Mazdamundi is taking so much damage here. It's insane. But the Sora Skull veterans are still going fairly well. There's one unit of Chosen with Halberds that's holding up pretty well, but that one's pretty damaged, and this one's very damaged too. But still 37 of them. So they're still going to be useful when they come back in the fight. I mean, they are Chosen with Halberds at the end of the day. So that's pretty brutal. But yeah, a lot of damage being done here. And here, this is interesting. So, Archaon's basically fighting all the dinosaurs right now, but the dinosaurs keep getting distracted and just attacking random other units. So, they can't really get a good surround on him. He's just too small, frankly. Oh yeah, it gets knocked aside, but that didn't register as a hit, as far as I can tell. Because, yeah, he just has too much melee defense, and the anti-large doesn't help him. So he's just shrugging all this off, which is ridiculous. And Mazdamundi did use a Cold-Blooded on himself before, which is risky in the thick of it, but fairly safe. There weren't too many halberds around him. Archaon was being knocked around a bit, so that was probably worth the gamble. He used an Apotheosis afterwards, but he's still just taking so much javelin fire. All this infantry is really starting to buckle. I mean, there's still some very healthy units in here, and things are looking really bad, honestly, for the Lizardman frontline units here. But his dinosaurs are still holding in there. They've still got a lot of health. It's, you know, between them, that's a lot of damage you've got to do. And these Chosen are starting to struggle. Another Curse of Midnight Wind going down. It's going to do so much utility here. They're suddenly going to be hitting a lot less hard, you know, a lot less effectively, and their armor's going to get lowered, and it's going to help all the units hit them. Although, all that's really left is armor piercing already, so it's not going to make a huge difference, but lowering the melee attack is really going to help these guys hold on. So here, Hounds are coming in to poison this stuff. I mean, Archaon's still fine, despite fighting all this nonsense for that long. Just the anti-large, it really matters for the Sora Skull veterans. I mean, their melee attack generally is, what, 46? And Archaon's melee defense is 60. So, you know, he's got the better stat there for shrugging off the damage from these guys. So that's pretty nice. And here, almost out of javelins. These guys, I don't know what they're doing loitering back there. They need to get back in the fray, which they will in a second. There we go, they're coming in. But Mazdamundi, you can see his healing cap here. I mean, it's just crazy. He's managing to keep his health fairly steady, but the healing cap is encroaching quicker and quicker. Huge hit from Archaon there. That's the thing. Now he's bogged down by all this stuff. He's not going to be knocking Archaon over repeatedly. Here, this Sora Skull veteran taking a lot of damage. He's just being dragged down by all these Chosen. Look, I mean, look at this. And these guys now, I mean, Sora Skull veteran charging into the cavalry. I mean, fine, you know, the cavalry, they've used all their ammunition. They may as well just be a nuisance, frankly, while this other stuff is focused down. As you can see, it has been focused down. And army losses is starting to hit. I just saw a unit shatter over there. I mean, all that's left that isn't fleeing is Sora Skull veteran. And it's just too much. It's just too much. So there you go. That's that. That's how you defeat double Carnosaurs, apparently. But that was brutal, absolutely brutal. And that was basically because Sarmatian here defied expectation, which is a big thing in Total War that's often, you know, often people talk about these sort of optimum builds against each other. But that's always with the assumption they're going to bring what they see as the meta pick against the other faction. And Warriors of Chaos, their kind of meta against Lizardmen tends to be Shaggoths and Dragon Ogres. You know, those kind of units for killing all the big dinosaurs. And frankly, they've got enough mass and, you know, just they hit so hard that they're pretty great against just anything, really. They're a nightmare, absolute nightmare. But Sarmatian didn't bring any. So this Lizardman player had done so much to negate that kind of playstyle that suddenly he wasn't prepared for something that completely ignored it, which I think is really interesting. You don't often see that, so I love this build. I think this is great, defies expectation, but it still covers all of your bases. So it's not the obvious pick for the anti-large, it's the optimal pick, I suppose. This isn't only bringing something to deal with every kind of Lizardman unit, it's bringing it in a way that's not expected, so the Lizardman player probably won't have the tools to deal with this kind of army. And that just makes it that much harder. So I love this, you know, real sort of expectation-defying build. It's very strong to do something like that. Just, if the person's prepared for something, and you don't have that, they're wasting their funds at the end of the day. So it's really cool to see. So absolutely love this. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this. This is just a complete... You know, it's a bluff. It's lovely. So guys, if you enjoyed this, then please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.